So I just downloaded this router OS, the CD
Yes.
image.
Yeah.
The ISO.
Hey,
The
before
ISO,
you
yeah.
run tonight, I
Alright.
brought my
Yeah.
radio. Do we have
So
a
they
few
can
minutes
run it if they want
afterwards?
to.
Yeah, for
Get
sure.
it running.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so for those of you who haven't got VirtualBox, I would suggest downloading VirtualBox 6.0.14 off virtualbox.com. Once you've downloaded it and installed it, then you want to go to mikrotik.com, go to software, x86, CD version, and download the long-term license.
Will this not run on VM, virtual, wow,
It's VirtualBox. You can run an instance on the VMware
VMware, wow.
if you download the version that supports VMware, but I tested it earlier and it's not as nice as the VirtualBox.
Okay.
In terms of what we want to do with it. Okay, so let me just close this one and go back to the Oracle, because we're not using Mint. Okay, so there's your hosts for those who want Macs, or you can run any one of those. So on your Mikrotik site, you want to go to software, and you want to go to downloads, and you want to go to the CD image here, and just download this one right there. It should take you about 10 minutes.
Could you point it at one more time?
Sure. It's a CD image here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This one here, the column on the right is the latest release. It can be buggy, and I wouldn't recommend using this unless you're used to using it and you want to do a beta testing. Then you'll download this one here. The middle one is the most stable one, but it's not the latest one. And this one is the latest one, and it's pretty stable, and it does what I always use this one. So, and I've had very few issues.
VM works with this, right?
Sorry?
VMware?
You can download, so on the Mikrotik site they've got these versions here. So under the cloud host, you've got the VDX image, the VMDK file, which is the same as your your VMware, and the VDI also works on VMware. And you can also use the OVA template. So if you're used to using VMware, you can download any one of those four and try them in order to reinstall VirtualBox. For this instance, I would like to use VirtualBox just because it's for where we want to go and what we want to do. It's going to be easier. I'll go back to the CD image again, so you can see it.
Under the cloud hosted.
Under the cloud hosted, yeah, is the VMware stuff.
Use some virtual you want?
You want to use one of the top four.
So VH, VX,
Yeah, VMDK is usually the one that VMware supports.
VMDK?
Yeah.
Or which one for VirtualBox?
VirtualBox is this ISO, the CD image we're going to use now. The reason for that is because the image that they supply has limitations, and so we're going to build it from scratch using the CD image on VirtualBox. Okay, so download this image here. You're going to start a new machine. Just go default with everything except for the name, and the operating system is BSD or FreeBSD. So if I go through it with you here, you're going to choose your type would be BSD, and version is FreeBSD 32-bit, and you're going to give it a name. I don't mind what you call it, whether it's Jack Black or whatever. That's the name you're going to give your machine, and you're just going to go next once you put the name in.
Is it possible to dim these front lights?
Yep. Sorry.
It isn't.
Let's do that.
I've also run through this before, so if anyone wants some help.
There we go. Is that better?
Very nice.
Whoa, too dark. Okay. I'll make this one full screen for you guys now. Cancel. Alright, so you should have a virtual machine now, and you'll just go next on your virtual machine. We don't need anything crazy in terms of resources. You don't have to have. You could literally get away with 64 megs of RAM, 64 gigs of 128 megs of hard drive space, and that would be sufficient to to run this OS because it's really tiny. And so that's what you're going to do. You'll have a look. Mine's got 16 megs memory. I've allocated 1024 megs of RAM, and my hard drive space has been set to the standard 16 that comes with it and the default. All right, now when you click start, you're going to then capture it's going to then ask you for a boot up file. Select your ISO. In fact, let me do one with you and then you can see what I'm going to do. So new, let's call this one Jack Black. And we'll select BSD, next, 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 and create. All right. Then when I start it, it pops up with that little instruction there. All right. You're going to click on this bottom corner here, and you're going to go to your file that you downloaded, which is the Mikrotik 6.44.5 disk image, and you're going to say open and start. And that's what you should see now, is this image right there.
Is Mikrotik open source?
Yeah. It's built on FreeBSD.
How
So
RAM this is like what is it?
whatever the default is, just use the default.
Default is 4 MB.
That's fine.
Fine.
Or 1. You can even go 1 meg.
No, 1 gig.
1 gig. You can go with 1 meg is what I'm trying to tell you.
Really?
You don't need a lot of RAM, I promise you.
Are you live
64
streaming
megs
the-
would be ideal.
Just recording.
Oh, are you gonna?
Alright, when you get to this point here,
The tutorials.
how many of you are at this point here?
To see how it works.
You're there. Andrew, is yours working yet?
No.
No? Okay.
My computer's from the Stone Age, man.
Uh-huh.
Do you know if your supervisor got my application?
What disk
I
is it?
don't, but I
Just
can
do
ask
the
him to fix
defaults.
them right now, actually.
Everything is defaults now.
Gosh, I wanted his number because I keep forgetting to ask him for it.
And create. And then you're going to double click on it to start it. And you're going to select your image that you downloaded off the mikrotik.com. How many of you know Aquafresh? So, Aquafresh had an advert that went, Aquafresh does it all in one, mum, and Mikrotik does it all in one. Because it literally does. So, I like to compare the two. You can run a VM as your platform. You can run these
I
as a
applied for a
full
job up there. I don't
OS
know
on
if
your
it's the
machine.
right one now.
What's that?
I
This
applied up there, but I
license,
don't know if
once
it's the
you
right
get it to this
position.
point, will cost $35
So you might need to
after
pull it
24
to make
hours.
sure.
So we have 24
Or
hours to
optional
play with it
vehicle.
now. Do whatever you want with it. Delete it, and then recreate it again.
Mobile
You can
number.
recreate it every 24 hours.
Oh.
But you have to recreate the entire image. Okay. Alright, so everybody there now? Who's not there? Just Andrew.
Keep going almost.
Almost?
Almost.
Almost?
Is this the skinny guy? Or is it bigger?
Yeah.
Can I also get the number of the thin guy? Was it Chris?
Eric.
Eric, yeah.
I don't have his number. I have his email, though.
Okay. He was the guy I talked to the most.
Okay.
Oh, did it go through the whole thing?
That's his email.
Yeah. Okay. Is this working? Working?
Sweetness mirror.
Giving you some error.
What is it?
That's to tell you that your in settings on your BIOS are not set up correctly.
How much hard disk space do you say you need?
16, well, no, you can go with 100.
100 gigs?
100 megabytes.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, oh man.
100 megs, yeah.
For disk space.
I'm good. Okay.
Alright, you ready?
Try.
Okay.
Mine is 6.0.8 VirtualBox. It's fine, right?
No, it get 14, that's probably why, because there's a bug on that one.
Were they passing around the numbers? No. It's only 25 megs. I'm just downloading it from
Alright, so for those of you who got to this point, click I. And then click no.
Wait, no.
Nope.
Is that the login apparently?
Hey?
Does that have a login apparently?
Yes, login as admin, no password.
Sorry about that.
Okay, but before you can restart this machine, you need to
Okay, so you need to boot it.
now go to devices, go to your optical device, and remove this once you've started it. Force unmount and enter to reboot. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, no bootable medium.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Doesn't like something.
I have to go to my SQL lab.
It's because I've already got one running, that's why. Okay, now to get out of a Windows VM or a VirtualBox, you need to click right control and then you can get out of it if you want. Power off this machine. Alright, so your machine should look, that's why mine's got the same thing, that's why it wouldn't work. Don't show, capture. Alright, so that's what it should look like once it restarts. Okay. Now, I want you to go to Mikrotik's website again, and I want you to download this tool called Winbox version 3.1.18. You download this tool off Mikrotik's website.
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Go to Mikrotik's website and then look for this Winbox 3.18.
It's at the top of the
Yeah,
downloads
3.2
page.
now.
Yeah, 3.2.
Also,
Sorry, I can update mine.
how do I get my cursor back from?
Double click your right control button.
Oh,
Did it work?
There we go.
Cool. Okay. There we go. I'll be now 3.2. There we go. 3.20. Okay. And if your machine is running, you won't see it. Alright? And the reason for it is because we haven't enabled any interfaces on this device. So, how many of you got a device that looks like that now? Oh, you're going to click no for that and just enter underneath.
We want Winbox 3.20. It's
Yeah.
I think it's the first one.
Yeah, that's what you want. Yours working? Yours working?
Please tell me to look.
Okay.
Loaded.
If you installed VirtualBox first and then you install VMware, it will suppress all your VirtualBox configurations. If you install VirtualBox, if you install VMware and then install VirtualBox, then they work together. That's probably what happened to yours. Yeah.
So I got to the point where we had the clear out the menu.
Menu item. Oh, so then you need to remove the optical drive and the drives because it's going to keep booting into that section.
Okay.
So just go to devices and untick the Mikrotik OS ISO. No, not root. Just untick the ISO. You'll see it's ticked. Yeah, I'll show you. So devices, optical devices, and just untick the ISO.
Okay.
There you go. Click force remove, and then you're fine.
Ryan,
Yeah.
can you were saying just
I.
check something with me.
Press I.
I right there, that's it?
Yep.
And then
And no.
no? Okay.
What version of BSD?
Just open. Yeah. Yes, it is perfect. Okay, so
Are you using the QR one? Mm. Type BSD 332, continue, 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 continue.
alright, now did you download that file from mikrotik.com?
Now it's
This one
prompting you
here.
for a login.
Okay.
Hey, now it's prompting you for login. Admin, no password.
Awesome.
So you're gonna go to mikrotik.com, look for software x86, that's CD image.
Software.
Software x86 and CD
You mean the website?
on Mikrotik's website, yeah. Okay, now how many of you have worked on a Kali box, CLI? How many of you worked on FreeBSD? Kind of. Alright. So this is FreeBSD, this is how FreeBSD works. Okay. Who are we waiting for? Still a couple of people at the back there. Alright, is yours working? Yours working now? You guys in? Okay. Alright. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you're going to go interface and you're going to say print. Alright, I have an interface. It says R1 and it's a 0 and a R. Now, on your input device, if this is not aligned to your bridge, you will not see this device from your Windows machine or from your Mac machine. Alright, if you do not have an Ether interface on here, that's because you haven't set it up to bridge correctly.
Is that an Ether channel thing?
So let me show you. So on VMs, you have to go to
Just Ethernet.
Oh, oh.
Being difficult.
so network settings, and you'll see mine's not even set to bridge, mine's set to NAT. Alright? If you bridge your adapter, it means your virtual machine will have direct access to every single network that you connect to your machine to. Alright? And so you can do a NAT, that's fine, but then your machine needs to have access to the internet and you need to have firewall permissions enabled. I just go with bridge adapters because it's easier.
Right.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't see
And that is
6.0.14. I got that.
No, you don't have to worry about this now. We've finished with it. Has everybody got okay, so everyone's done this thing, so we can just cross that out now. So you're going to go to this one here, software, the x86 one. Okay. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to share my wireless AC. And most of you, I would recommend you share your wireless ACs so that we can see each other if the wireless AC here has sharing enabled, which it doesn't. Alright, but we're going to test it now. Okay? And now I'm going to restart my machine. And to restart it, you just send the following command from devices. You can go input, keyboard, send, control, alt, delete. Because it's a FreeBSD box.
You have to dash aside N Y.
Okay. I, you're still there. Okay. N, Y.
And what's that? So
And then,
what happened was after this device was network.
ah,
I increased the RAM speed from 400 to like something, and after
oh,
that,
okay. Alright.
it
4 is
was,
the minimum. That's
yes,
probably why.
it's gonna be it.
Yeah.
So 100% to later devices.
Yeah, press enter to restart.
Click on
Okay.
run.
And then you do devices,
Yeah.
optical,
You said to download some
and tick that. Force unmount. And you're going to now do input keyboard.
Is it downloadable instant like notes or how?
Oh yes, you downloaded that CD image there,
Yeah, I
the
did.
first one.
It's admin
I did.
attached.
Oh, okay, then you got it. Then you're fine. You can download the Mikrotik, the Winbox. It's right at the top there.
Version attached.
Yeah, Winbox.
Version 3.
Yeah.
And version 3.2. All good.
Does it tell the secret
No,
software?
Winbox. You can just save it.
So this one.
And yeah, I always save mine to my desktop, but you can save it wherever you
Okay,
want.
admin.
Admin. All right. So has everybody now got to the screen here? Who hasn't got to the
I want
screen
to see
here?
the software license.
Just Andrew. And Knuckle and
Currently
he'll guess.
installing it, but
Okay,
Okay.
I'm there right now.
You're there right now. Okay. Type in admin
I
and
did.
log in. ADMIN
Yeah, of course.
and
It
no
says
password.
show print, right?
Okay.
Show print.
All right. Then you're going to do interfaces
Okay.
print, and you can use tab to complete.
Okay, I did.
Okay.
It shows cooking on beta.
Okay. So now, guess what I can see now?
You have to open my virtual webkit.
Oh, you had to go and change the network settings to bridge, and then restart your machine again.
Okay, then share my screen.
How far are you guys?
Right here.
Ah, of course. So if you do an interface, if you do interface print, just type in print.
So
Enter.
what was
Alright.
that? Just do Winbox.
So if you open Winbox, go to neighbors. Click on neighbors there, and you should see your device if you set up your bridge correctly. Then you can click on your device and you can click connect. Okay.
Missing operating system.
So just go to your devices under here and go to network and network settings and change it from NAT to bridge. Yeah.
Okay, I was able to open.
Did you change your network settings from
Yeah,
NAT to
briefly.
bridge?
Now?
Okay. Then you should restart the machine by.
I did.
Okay, then you should just be able to go to interface print.
You gotta restart the interface.
Yes.
Yes. It won't show it. Yeah. Alright, so now that's there. So now if you click on this Winbox, click neighbors, allow. Oh, you should have set click private as well. It's fine. Alright. There it is there. So click on the MAC address and click
It
connect.
was trying to install, but we went after it before it was installed. So it got to a point where it was.
Okay, so everybody here. Who's not here? Just your guess.
Yeah.
You're there. Where are you?
At the interfaces part?
Interfaces. Okay. Can you see if you open up your Mikrotik Winbox? Can you see your device? So go to your downloads.
Okay, I see the Mikrotik thing.
You need to download Winbox from the Winbox from the Mikrotik website.
So the Mikrotik CLI, can I put it in
Yeah.
here
So
now?
you have a Mac. You don't have a
Do
Mac.
something in front of
So
the
Macs
people.
can't use
See the
Winbox.
device
And
chart
turn it
on
off.
Winbox.
Okay.
Time to buy a new computer, my
Or
friend.
just something else.
Yeah. So you're going to use the you're fine.
Right now.
You're going to use the web interface. You're fine. All right. So you're good as long as you. Okay. So now what you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set. I'll help you set up yours. Okay. So for all the Windows machines out there, you now have your Winbox program, and you should be able to see it from here. How far are you, Andrew?
So I have Winbox open, but I don't have that little line.
Okay, so then go to your device manager under your virtual instance,
Okay,
and just change your settings.
so I'm right here.
Yeah, go to devices.
Okay.
Oh, did you install already?
Yeah, I installed it.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't done anything to
Oh,
last.
just click no. All right, then devices. I just want to make sure your network settings are on bridge. Change it from NAT to bridge, and then restart your network device. And you can just do the click, yeah. That's it. Okay.
And then it'll populate inside the Winbox.
And it'll pop up in Winbox.
Look at that.
Alright. You want to download VirtualBox first. And then once VirtualBox is installed, then you want to go and download the Mikrotik software x86 CD long term. download it, install it, download it, and then you're going to boot your VirtualBox. Have you watched VirtualBox much? All right, you're going to boot that ISO on VirtualBox, and then when you get there, give me a shout. Okay, all right, everybody else, you can now log into your device by clicking on the MAC address, and you're going to put in admin at the top here, no password, and connect. And you should see that.
Is that the MAC address of the virtual machine, or is that the host machine?
That's the MAC address of your little host device, which we just created, your virtual machine.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, so you put the MAC address in the connection?
If you click on, so let me do it again. I'll show you. Cancel. Okay. Yeah. So if you go to your Winbox and your neighbor's there, you'll click on the MAC address itself. You see that little MAC address in the corner there? If you click on it, and then just under the login, you press admin, then you click connect.
Okay.
All right. And it'll tell you that your license is only valid for 22 hours and 50 minutes or 23 hours and whatever minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Click OK, and now you have a full working virtual instance of Mikrotik Reader OS. You can do this in the cloud on any device in the world that supports VM. Okay. All right. So you could have done the same on a VMware if you have the ability to create a VM on VMware. Yeah.
Now, I might be missing something, but on
Yes.
the previous window there, you've got down below 2 tabs. One is managed, one is neighbors.
You want to go to neighbors?
Neighbors, and that's me.
Yes. And that's
Okay. So I click on that, and my password is the same as the
your
CLI.
login is admin, no password, unless you put a password into your previous one.
Negative.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So now, you'll see that there's very little on this virtual machine. We haven't installed any other additional services on here. And the reason for it is because when we did the install, we just installed the system. We didn't install any of the other services. Okay, so now I'm going to get you to redo it again. And the reason for that is because I want you to get used to creating these things, because when you're out in the field or when you're working with these devices, you need to be able to do this. Okay, but we're going to do it in a different way. Okay? No, we're going to do it in the same way. So you're going to go to your device again, optical drive, and you're going to just tick that little box, enable. And you're going to send the keyboard instructions, Control-Delete.
Which one are we taking now?
The image again, so that you're going to boot off the ISO image, and you're going to format the drive and reload all packages.
The keyboard settings, what are we doing?
No, not keyboard. You're just going to go devices.
Yeah, I finished that, like I connect the micro.
Okay, and you ticked it, and then you're going to insert Control-Delete to restart your machine. Okay, so if you have a look on here, we're going to run the dude, GPS, Kalia, which is basically Kali, this version, FreeBSD's Kali version. All right. Advanced tools, DHCP, PPP, hotspot, IPv6, KVM, LCD. This KVM here, you can set this little box up to run multiple virtual machines if you really wanted to. Okay. But we're going to do all of them. So just type in A when you get your system coming up there.
Oh, you can type in A, you not
Just
spam
press,
spacebar?
just press A.
Oh, I selected all.
Yeah, A is all.
Oh, A is all.
A is all. Okay. And then I. And then, yeah. Well, yes, you can keep your old configuration because it's already been pre-configured.
Oh, look at that, installing all the packages.
And now we're installing all the packages, and I'm done. Just like that. How fast? Super quick, super cool. Before you restart, devices, optical drive, and untick that.
Now install it just like we did the first time.
And then you're gonna force an unmount, and you're gonna say input keyboard. Oh, just here. Sorry, enter to restart. Here we go. Okay. And your machine should now be visible again with Winbox, for those of you who have got Winbox. And look, what have I got in there now?
Why have you got two?
Tell me what the difference is.
Can't tell exactly.
Okay. FE80AA027FFFE8B3DFD. What is that? It's an
IPv6.
IPv6 address. It's an auto-assigned IPv6 address. Okay. So you can click on that because now you have an IP address. And you can click connect.
So we click on the IPv6.
Yeah.
No, I think it's-
Okay. Alright. So now you have a full virtual running Wireshark device, firewall, whatever you want to call it. User manager, network scanner, network analyzer. That's what this thing is. So you can use these at home. Now, the little devices that I've ordered are little tiny things like this. The only thing they don't have on them is the KVM function and the dude. Everything else they got. Okay.
Oh, there's you.
Who's the dude?
The dude is the coolest thing in the world. Okay.
It doesn't have it?
The little devices don't have it.
This does.
This does. Because this is set up as a server. And so here, you can start to do network maps and networks and probes. And so those little devices essentially become probes that you'll set up on your network. All right. And you've got syslog tool rules and tools and services, and it's got a lot of functions in here. All right. So if you license this box at your own accord, give me a call before you license because I can get a 10% discount on the price of licensing if you want to. If you don't want to license it, just keep the ISO. You know how to boot it, you know how to get it working, and you can play with it, and you can build a virtual machine in a couple of seconds. Now,
How much does licensing cost?
about $27.
Is that an annual fee or a monthly fee?
One off.
Huh?
You
One
one
off.
off.
Oh, just one?
Yeah.
One off.
Okay.
How much?
License for life. $27 to $30.
Why not just buy the device then?
Why do we buy the device? Why don't you buy?
Yeah.
Well, you can. So
This is the licensing for.
this is a server which you can use to run as a KVM manager or a virtual manager. So now you can run all your virtual instances inside of this platform. So imagine that. Imagine having a firewall where all your virtual machines are now secured. Totally secured inside a firewall. That's what this is doing. So you host this on your cloud server with Amazon. They only see this. They cannot see anything that's inside it. They cannot see anything that's behind it. Unless you have a NAT forwarding rule and all that stuff that goes with it. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to enable an IP address on the bridged interface, which is connected to the Wi-Fi. So we should actually be able to get an IP address off the school's wireless network if we go to IP, DHCP client, add, and Ether1, and OK. And guess what?
Hey, we go.
We got one. Okay? All right. So now you can see what my IP address is if I move that over slightly. And if this network is as robust as it is, it is. Let me see if I can see you guys. Let's go to IP enables. Alright, so I'm not seeing any of you guys right now, which just means that they've set up this network that although you get a /16 network, /16 subnet, you cannot see your neighbors. Alright? And these devices, these wireless devices are smart enough to segment your traffic from my traffic so that I cannot do anything to your machine and you cannot do anything to my machine. Okay. Unless, of course, I do this. Tools, IP scan. And I just click start. Now, because I'm on the physical network, I should be able to see anything that's on the network through that address there.
I'm not getting stuff.
Oh.
Or
So now we're scanning the network, all right? And I can start to see all the different MAC addresses that are on the network. Okay. All right.
How do
So,
you do that again?
hey?
Not getting anything.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything.
Go to IP or tools and then IP scan. But have you got an IP address on your DHCP client yet?
Huh?
Yes.
Did you get a DHCP client enabled?
I think so, yeah.
You did. And you got an IP address already, hey?
No.
Okay, I'm going to press stop because it will go on and it'll pick up, I think it's about 70 odd machines. All right. Okay, but now I want to know how my device connects to the internet. So what do we use in Windows to determine how we get to the internet?
Trace route.
Okay, so where's trace routing here? It'll be under my tools. So go to tools, and there it is. And I can type in 8.8.8.8. What is 8.8.8.8.8?
That's Google DNS.
Okay, let's see how quickly we can get to Google's DNS. All
Now
right.
stuff showing up.
Oh yeah, that was so much faster.
Trace route. So if you go to tools, go to trace route, there's your thing now. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you something really cool. All right. You have two network interfaces on this device. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run a ping. So we're going to go IP. So we're going to go to tools again, and we're going to run a ping. And we're going to ping 8.8.8.8. Whoops. And we're going to say start. And then I'm going to go to my IP firewall.
Same thing as we talked about, because I have
Oh yeah, but where did you go?
he has to do that to drive.
Okay,
Are you creating a NAT rule or a circuit rule there?
I'm going to create a masquerade.
Like wearing a mask.
Okay. I want you to see if you can figure out how to do this. All right. So, in order to do a masquerade is basically the same as what your little device at home will do when it NATs behind a device. All right. It captures all the data and it passes it through that single IP. All right. In order for us to view the traffic going through this device, we need to be able to capture it first. So, you're going to do a NAT plus action masquerade. Don't worry about everything else. Which is under, yeah, you got it? Action up at the top. And then scroll down to masquerade. You got it? Okay, got it?
There we are.
Got it? Andrew, you got it?
Currently masquerading, sir.
Great. Okay.
So once you get the ability to reset compressor, you can
Coming right.
yeah.
She's a psychologist. She's here to assess all of us.
Okay, so if you get to this point here, we installed everything. Then you need to download Winbox, which is the tool that you're going to use to log into it. Alright, so you're going to go to,
Should I download it on the virtual machine?
okay.
Do I download it on the
No,
virtual
just download it to your machine, because you're going to use your machine to manage it. Alright. Have you done your masquerading yet on yours?
No.
Alright, so just go to IP, firewall, yeah, and you're going to go to NAT,
These devices are $25.
and you're going to go plus on the left, and you're going to say action right at the top,
$25 on the device.
masquerade, drop down to the masquerade. There, yeah, just drop down and select masquerade. Yep, okay. Alright, so you got yours working. Perfect.
So do I need to do anything after that?
No, that's it. Alright, now, if you go and click on connections, you should see your connection. Can you see your connection pinging? Because you're pinging to Google.
Oh yeah?
Oh, guess what I'm seeing? Okay, now, this is live traffic, alright? So this is the live session from your machine to Google, and this is the response, okay? And have a look here. The one is my trace route, and the other one is my ping session. So you should have 2 instances if your trace route is still running.
I have 3 actually.
You have 3?
CSC. I think it's your ping, trace route, and IP scan.
Maybe because you're still running an IP scan? Yes, you'll see that as well.
Plus
Okay.
action.
Wait, so this is, how do you get to this part right here where you
So
see the second
you did
address?
the NAT,
Oh, connection.
and then it's just under there is connection.
Alright.
Alright, now I want to know what protocol is traveling over my device. I just widen it up, and I can see
When that says proto?
that it's an ICMP. Okay. Alright. Okay. Pretty cool. So, if I run a ping to a URL, which I'm going to do for you, on a new window, I'm going to say, let's do this one. Start. Okay?
Are you still doing an IP scan as well?
No, I've cancelled my IP scan.
Why did you have 2 addresses?
Because one is my trace route still running in the back end.
Okay.
And you'll see on your trace route, it gives you a live view on the history to those links. Okay? And that all comes through the ping session that it's generated, that's being generated. Because a ping follows that route, it's doing a trace route as a ping, and it's just mapping it out for us. Okay. So you'll see here, I've now got 2 instances. I'm going to add a 3rd instance. And I'm going to say byui.edu. Okay? So let's do that. Start. Now, let's go to my firewall and look at my connections. Okay? How many connections have I got? 4, because there's my 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions running. Alright? Well, sorry, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. I can see how much data it's consuming. I can see which protocol it's running. I can see my source address, and I can see the destination address. Okay. Has this helped any of you a little bit with kind of getting some sort of ideas?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Can't you just say this from the command prompt in the Windows?
Okay. So go to your command prompts. All right, and type in ARP space minus A. Who can tell me what that is? Oops.
What was the command?
ARP space minus A.
That's the route all.
What is that?
ARP entries.
ARP entries. What is an ARP entry?
All the IP addresses that it sees on the network.
On what network?
The current network that you're on.
Any network?
Okay, this shows me 4 different subnets. Doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 5 different subnets. Okay, so an ARP is the address resolution protocol that runs on your machine. Because your machine has multiple virtual machines or physical connections, it's got an ARP table for every single session. All right. Now, if I look at this one here, this is my 192.168.91 network. It's got a different ARP resolution to this one here. Now, if you have a look at this one here, you should see your Mikrotik Router OS box on there.
Yeah, I don't remember that actually. It's a 10 dot something rather.
It's a 10 or something, yeah.
Right there, there it is.
Okay.
Now, if you really want to get fancy with this, you can do the same commands in PowerShell, but you can filter it all out and format it differently.
You
so
can.
You can pull out dynamics and.
So now I want to do a trace route to 8.8.8.8, which is the same as I ran on my Mikrotik router. Okay. Look how much slower it is. Oh, So slow. How quick did that Mikrotik do it in a couple of seconds?
Because Mikrotik has, skills.
Because it's got routing capabilities and yes, exactly. But if you notice the routes, there's one less stop on here compared to your device. Why?
Because the virtual machine is not involved.
It's involved. So because it's going through, because it's a routing device itself, it'll put its routing device IP first. And then it'll put the second and the third and the fourth and carry on. Okay. Alright. Still?
Wait, actually, can't you change how many intervals there are in between each ping? Because isn't it set as
Not on Windows.
You can
in
PowerShell you can.
in PowerShell.
Not in command prompt.
Are you sure? I thought I did it.
You can use a TTL thing for 300 milliseconds, but it breaks most of the time. It's not as accurate as PowerShell. So, yeah. So, can I see my neighbors in Windows?
No,
Why not?
I don't see myself up there.
You don't see yourself up there.
I didn't see my IP. Oh, we're using trace route or ping?
Trace RT, bro.
Oh, never mind. I thought you were talking about ping.
Is that better?
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Just a little too dark. Whoa.
Hey, not too.
There we go. Alright. Okay, so is there any questions that anybody wants to know for this thing now?
Yeah, I want to draw a network map. Say, okay, I'm here. I just established this network, but I want to draw a network map, and I saw that as one of the capabilities on here.
Yes.
How can I draw a network map?
Okay, so tools, IP scan.
Did you say you established a bridge?
Okay. That is my network map. So this here is everything, if you finish running your IP scan, is everything the computer can physically see. Alright?
Yep, that's good.
Okay? If your IP addresses change, it means it's leaving your network and it's going out of your network. Alright. But you can still map it. You can still create a general speaking map. So for example, I could map what we've got there. Alright? So we know that my machine's IP address is 10. Oh, that's not working. 10.244.104.186. Okay? So anything with that IP address, 244 dot, oh, 216? Is that within the subnet? Who can tell me?
Which one?
Is this within the subnet? Is that 244 within my subnet? 244.216. Is that within that subnet? Is it?
No.
What is it?
Are you sure?
I don't know.
You're not sure? Okay.
It's a .6/16 instead of 216.
So let's go and have a look at this thing here. So if 0.1 is the gateway and 104 is that, /16 is what level of the table? Well, we know it goes 32, 24, high, 16, 8. So this is quite big, isn't it? Okay. So that means anything in those two quadrants fall within that.
Was this 65,000 IP addresses?
Yeah, it's about there. So if that's a /16, it means anything and anything is in the network. Alright? /16 is quite a big broadcast, isn't it? Why would you want to allocate /16 to anybody? You get my, it's weird, isn't it? Well, if you have 16,000 students on campus, or 22,000 students on campus, that's why. You want to have a single IP address cluster, and you want to issue them out. That's why they have such a big network. You need to have devices that are smart enough like this that do not create broadcast storms through that. Okay. What's a broadcast storm?
You send out a thing and it doesn't, like if you don't have your if you don't have like trunking and everything set up correctly, you send something out and it can just sort of get bounced around between different routers because it doesn't know where it's supposed to go and they don't know where it's supposed to go.
Okay, what if I told you that 65,000 devices all saying an ARP request at the same time will break your network?
I believe you.
You believe me? Why?
Because you're wrong, Caleb.
Okay, 64,000 times 124 kilobits. Do you do the sums? Alright, it's in the gigabits of traffic hitting the network at the same time. Alright. And so that's why these smart devices can do that if they're clever enough. But yeah. Alright, so we worked out that the network is huge. Alright, it's got 64,000 odd IP addresses on it. Okay. On the wireless network. We worked out we can't see each other, which is interesting because we're on the same physical network. Why is that? Can you see me? Can you ping my IP? Try and ping it. Somebody try and ping an IP. From your IP.
What is your ping? What your IP?
10.244.104.186.
Yeah, I can do the thing.
Pardon?
Everyone ping, let's bring him down.
You can ping it? Okay, so, oh, look what happened there. Did you see that? Check. Now, according to what we were looking at just now, we couldn't see each other as neighbors, could we? But you can ping each other because they've allowed ICMP. And all connections are going through a firewall. So they're filtering based on your source and destination, and they're basing it on your MAC and your connection type. So if your device says Wi-Fi, they've got an ACL that says limit connectivity to ICMP only. Right. So now I can see who's coming in. All right. So one of you is 189. One of you is 190, 192, 141, 188. So I can see who's trying to ping me based on that. It's pretty cool, eh? So this is like Wireshark, isn't it? Because you've seen the port, destination, protocol type. All right. Okay. So, what else do you want to do with this thing? You want to set up wireless? Well, we can set up wireless if I have a wireless interface on here. So should we try? We've bridged the wireless interface. We might be able to. Let's see.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So the boxes we're getting, that takes place of the
virtual machine.
Yeah, the virtual.
This OS runs on that little box.
We're gonna keep working on this program though, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
This OS, except for those two things.
Gotcha.
Okay. Everything else is on the same box.
I've got a question about the dude.
Yeah.
So everything in the dude, when I try to go to it, it says error dude is disabled.
Yes.
Is there a way I have to go and enable that and set it to something?
You do. So you'll have to, so the dude runs on CLI. You need to run a client manager on your Windows machine in order for it to talk to this machine here.
Okay.
You need to have the admin rights set up so that you can do that. Now,
We'll talk later about that.
yes, I'm going to teach you how to change your username and password on this device by going to System, Users, and you're going to change your default password. Do not forget it. Otherwise, you'll have to restore it.
Which password is it? Like for the
Your admin password.
So where do you same password for the computer?
For your Mikrotik device.
Oh,
Okay, because you're now visible. I can log into any one of your machines and actually take them over.
Because there's no passwords.
Because there's no passwords, yeah.
Oh boy.
that's rude.
It is rude, isn't it?
How do you change it again?
Okay, so you're going to go to System, Users, user list, click on admin, and change the password in that little right-hand corner.
You say you distribute the Mikrotik boxes?
Yeah, I do.
What kind of time are they?
I will bring them on Tuesday next week.
Oh, okay, I thought you got that.
There was a hiccup with Amazon.
Yeah, there was a hiccup with Amazon.
I was gonna.
They're $27 each, 25 to 27 depending on. Yeah, I took a bit of a knock on this one because Amazon messed it up twice. So yeah, we'll get them sorted out.
How many do you have coming in on the shipment?
7,
7? Okay.
and I've sold 6.
How do you enable do?
Yeah, one's yours.
Oh. Want me to do it?
So how
Yeah.
do you put the password on admin? Because when I do it, it adds another user.
Does it?
Yeah.
Did you double click on admin?
No.
If you double click on if you double click on admin, then you can just click on password and change it.
Okay.
Alright. Now, I can tell you now, you can change all the stuff
And Ryan can put your password.
in here. Okay?
Oh, you showed me. Cool.
Yep. See how quickly you guys can lock your machines down.
So will this work on any network we go onto?
Any network.
Playlist?
Any network. But this is not licensed. Remember, the license is going to expire in 22 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But if you want to set it up quickly and check stuff out, okay. Now, the challenge with networking and the responsibility with networking is you are responsible citizens.
Mhm.
Use it responsibly. That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay. So I used one of these. I used 4 of these devices to break the link between Europe and China. Because of how we were managing the back end. And I used CLI because this is BSD, essentially. And you can now go and configure stuff. All right, how many of you had a look at the menu? If you have a look at this menu, you'll see you have all the different routing protocols here. All right, so BFD is Mikrotik's own version. All right, BGP is what ISPs or internet service providers use to connect to each other. Or businesses that connect to them. There's OSPF version 3, there's RIP, and there's RIP-NG, which is next generation. Okay, those are routing protocols you can use. If you don't want to use routing protocols, you can just go and do routes, and you can add your own routes now. So for example, I want to set up a session, and I can do this. I can go and set up a L2TP tunnel.
It's kid control.
Kid control?
Yeah.
So you want to enable kid control if you have a home and you have a button for WPS for a wireless to connect to it. And that prevents kids from being able to just press and get their friends connected to your Wi-Fi at home. And so their devices have a kid control function on it, which basically means you still need to put a key in or a password of some sort, even though the WPS is enabled. So that's basically what it is.
So, by the way,
Yeah.
how do you go back one step? The system is a directory.
Okay.
And by the way, Telnet is under system.
Yes. Sorry, I realized that afterwards. I was like, ugh. All right. So if you want to undo something you've done, just click undo.
No, on the CLI.
Oh, on the CLI?
Yeah. You can do it undo.
You just do CD
Just do
dot dot.
new terminal. also do that.
What does that say?
Undo.
Well, like if you go into like I went
If you've
into.
set something.
No, if you go into system, how do you get it back?
Oh, it's like that. Oh no, that system. Then you just go cd. Sorry, cd dot dot. What?
Just dot dot.
Oh, space. cd. No,
Just
it's not
dot
working
dot.
now. Yes, there we go. Sorry, it's changed a little bit.
If we were to want to like refresh our little trial thing, like it
Yes.
didn't ask for an email or anything, could we just uninstall it and reinstall it?
You'd have to delete your virtual machine and reinstall the virtual machine.
Gotcha, okay.
That's how you get rid of the license.
Yeah. Just delete your virtual machine, reinstall it again, and you can play. Alright, have a look at that. See that menu? If you just press tab, it'll give you a full menu in your CLI. Alright, now for all those CLI fans out there, whatever you can do on here, you can do in here.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool. But you can do more in here than you can here.
Like what?
Scripts.
Huh.
So you can do a login script in here. And so I can go special logins, or let's just do the system system scripts. Can't remember. Tools. It's been a while. Yeah, system scripts. System, tab, and why is it? Oh, there it is. Scripts. Okay. So you can set up a new script.
But you got me a little bit crazy with that again. Yeah.
Script. There we go. Okay, so there's my script. I want to add a script. So then you can type in add, and I can say copy from blah 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 to wherever. You can set up whatever script you want to in here.
Are you just using a question mark to get the
Tab.
Yeah.
tab? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I love tab. Okay. So that's what you use to run the scripts. So for example, how many of you know what DNS is? Or no IP? Have you heard of no IP? Okay, so no IP. This is no IP. Dun
Oh.
DNS.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Alright, Dun DNS is a DNS company which allows you to create a remote session. Is there still free DNS, Dun DNS? No. So the only way that we can do it now is no IP. Okay, so no IP is a free dynamic DNS management platform. How many of you wanted to host a web server at home? Okay, Dun DNS allows you to do that. Alright? No IP does that too. No IP is free, Dun DNS you pay for it. Alright. Sorry?
You get what you pay for.
Oh yeah. So you can set up a no IP configuration by doing this. No IP script. There it is. And on their website they've got it. Alright, and you just change the settings from dynamic DNS to no IP or sorry. Good. And so you'll see there's all your commands. And so you can take this script now, copy it, paste it, and your no IP allows you to create a route that's now publicly available any time of the day to your device at home.
So is this all developed by Oracle? So it's
No.
like no?
No. So Mikrotik is its own company. It's an
Gotcha.
organization that's been around for a while. No IP is I think they're owned by Oracle. They provide no IP functionality, I think. No, they're not. See, they're based in
When are the Mikrotik boxes coming in?
they're supposed to arrive tomorrow morning. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pay attention to Slack.
Yes.
Okay.
Slack or Teams. I'll put it on both.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. I hope you guys have learned something today. Something interesting, something cool.
I have.
Okay.
Maybe you need another avatar.
Okay. Now I've got the bug button. So now now every week I want you guys to come with some new script or some new cool thing that you've been able to play with in these things. When we start bringing the actual devices together, we're going to start creating mesh networks and BGP sessions here and connecting them via cable, connecting them via Wi-Fi. We're going to try and attack it via Wi-Fi, and we'll see the traffic reports that have been generated. But I wanted to give you a kind of a touch and feel for the OS and the operating aspects behind it.
Okay.
This is only for the Mikrotik routers, right? This is not going to work for Cisco.
No, this is so.
Cisco's garbage.
So Cisco and Mikrotik are networking companies.
Yeah.
They produce software and hardware. Mikrotik's very cost competitive and very, very aggressive in their marketing approach and in their market segment that they're aiming at. They've built theirs on FreeBSD or on BSD, whereas Cisco have built theirs on iOS. So it's a different operating system, does the same thing. You can create, so we've got some Cisco switches inside here, all right? So what we'll do is we will create let's rub this out quick, and I'll show you what we can do with this thing, which is really cool, because it's part of the 341 class that I'm busy redesigning at the moment for Bud Armstrong. Will have these devices in it. But basically, you're going to have your two Mikrotik devices over here, all right, and they're going to connect to a switch. And now this port here is a trunk port, and this port here is a trunk port. So this will be one network, and this is another network. So you can run multiple cables between here and create multiple network type devices. Because this is a Cisco, you can segment your network on your VLANs over here, all right? Because this is a Mikrotik, you can do the same thing on their ports if you really wanted to. And so you can run port channels between those two if you really wanted to. The point is, it's a different protocol. It's not a different protocol. It's a different application or a different operating system. So it still does the same thing. And so this is what we're going to teach. It's all about robustness. It's all about integration and being able to interconnect between one vendor and another vendor. BGP is BGP between here and there. OSPF is OSPF between there and there. Why does Mikrotik do differently to Cisco? That's just, they don't have to be the same. As long as they conform with the standards, then that's fine. So I'm one level away from being a trainer on this stuff. I'm hoping to do my training next April, and then I'll be certified to train Mikrotik's systems. And a normal fee to get certified is about $890 for a single certification. I've done it 4 times, so yeah. So I'm an MTCRE, which is the routing engineer equivalent on Mikrotik versus Cisco, and an MTCNA and a CCNA is almost the same thing, and MTCRE is closer to a CCNA. So, yeah.
So could you show us again, like after we set up the Mikrotik virtual machine, how do we get that to connect to this program?
So you just use your Winbox, and as long as your bridge is enabled on your virtual machine, then you'll see it.
So
if you go to your virtual box, go to your device, network.
Wait, where's the VM?
Yeah.
Your VM manager, yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, so you go to
So this Windows enables you to configure the Mikrotik routers on the device, right?
Yes.
It's just a quick, easy click, 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 click,
yeah,
done.
as long as
It's their little GUI.
basically
That means like one Windows can operate like wireless device, like different routers, switches, everything like, you know.
So it's on
Yes.
bridge and it's
So
on that.
they
that
have
wireless
functionality
AC
here,
thing.
which
Um,
allow
so
you
once
to
it's
run.
bridged, then
So if you set up one
you'll
server,
be in a different
you can
window.
manage
Yeah.
all your Mikrotik devices from one central core
Just see it down below on the
using
main.
this one.
Okay.
So you click on that one and
This
then
has some
it's off
additional
and then
tools
you're
which you showed, like
All of them have it.
Does that
So
automatically?
you can even buy the
was that
cheapest
there
one
when
and
we started
manage
it, or?
all your
So-
devices
so
from
this-
one cheap one.
everything
No,
you
I'm
connect
saying
will
like
close all this down
trace
and then
route,
you'll
like
go-
other little tools
basically
where you
the
can see
bar
the
keys are in the
network.
very back
on any Mikrotik
was
device, you can do
when
the
you
same
logged
thing.
in.
Yeah.
That was
The
Oh,
only
so
difference
that's better.
between
If you
the other
logged
Mikrotik
out,
devices
you'd have
and this virtual instance
box
is
and
those
then
two
find
things
your
there.
device on there.
Uh,
Username and password at the top.
Okay, so if there's
So
nothing
we
there, it
use
means
the
you're already
CD
logged in.
image, virtual
Yeah.
like network
And
device.
then if
Yes.
there
that's
is,
doing
then
all these
that's
things
when you
right
just
now.
go and
We've
you
used the
find
CD image to
your
create a
ID
virtual
on the
instance,
On the
but
menu,
you can have a real
you
instance
just have
of
yeah,
a
and then
physical
click on
device.
Physical
it.
device.
Put your stuff in at the top.
Okay, okay, it's like a,
Okay,
it's like
cool,
creating
thank
a
you.
So yeah,
packet
so
tracer,
you're not gonna see it
but
now
those are
obviously
not
because you're already logged in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
physical,
actually
but
just
like
But if
virtual.
you
Yes.
you
So this is for
then
hosting
you
in the
should be able
cloud.
to- and then open up
For
your
example,
system.
you want to host all your servers with Amazon, but you want to put a firewall, you want to put a manager between Amazon and all
Do you
your
know how to
devices behind it.
disconnect?
This is how you do
Try
it.
Just do exit.
You build this one box, you create a supersized box, and you then enable KVM, and you put all your virtual instances inside of this. Now this is your KVM manager, this is your virtual instance manager. It's like VMware running on a server, but you're running Mikrotik's OS with firewall capabilities and everything internally.
Look at that would kind of
It is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool, eh?
Still doing virtual box.
Still doing virtual
So
box.
you know the solar winds of the Meraki,
Yeah.
they use the well, like
So Winbox.
Cisco using the
Yeah.
E
Even
web
if it's the exe, you
version,
can still just
like GUI,
Yes.
and now they're like
just launch
controlling
it,
all the
yeah.
devices, like you can do all
Do
the
that.
modifications
Yes.
and
The
everything
neighbors.
using the Meraki, like at the website.
Yes.
Similar, right? But
So
this
on
is,
here,
V6,
you
I
will
didn't have-
do,
I didn't
in the
have the
system,
secrets on either one-
there's a
on
thing
mine.
called
And then I imagine we'll have to
Raman
take the path
manager,
where you get.
and you'll do Raman manager, and then you can manage all your devices to be exactly the same, and to carry the same image across the
Just say
system.
okay.
wow.
Boom.
Yeah.
You're in.
I'm in.
Yep, and then you just have fun over in the left.
So
Right.
sick.
So
That's
Ubiquiti
sick.
and Mikrotik are partner companies.
Which one?
Mikrotik and Ubiquiti.
Word.
So Ubiquiti
Really?
Wi-Fi devices. They
Yeah, I never heard of Mikrotik.
yes.
The-
But you've heard of Ubiquiti?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I heard,
You've heard of Ubiquiti.
yeah.
A lot of hotels use Ubiquiti
Oh, really?
because it's so cheap. Meraki, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are like $2,000 a piece.
Seriously?
Is that like Cisco?
Yeah.
Is that Cisco?
This is a Cisco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not like.
Hey?
Sorry, access point, yeah.
It's an access point, but it's 2,500 access point. It's made by Aruba, which is backed by Cisco.
In order to shut down the Mikrotik
Yeah.
thing, what do you do? Does it just
You
shut down?
just switch it.
Oh, you just turn it
It's
on.
not. Once you've made a change, it saves.
You just exit out of it.
Just yeah, you can exit out of here. Once you exit out of there, it saves.
Okay, and then I can just.
And you can
open that
always
right
roll.
back up.
That's right. You can run a backup, and even when you've rebooted your machine, you can still go back.
So that's one of the great things about that.
Configuration steps with those little keys on top there, which is pretty cool. The challenge is you need to limit people's rights. At the moment, you've all got admin rights to your own machines.
Yeah.
But we'll touch on setting user privileges, because that's the same as Cisco. Cisco does user privileges and rights and permissions, and so that you can remove all those and just have a read only. And yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this evening.
Yeah, this has been super cool.
Thank you, Ryan.